recap. That was a good recap for us to get on board as for most of us, our outdoor season starts in the next couple of weeks. So I want to just go over how we can help our golfers learn and play better this season. So I want us to come to our senses and start using them to learn and to play better golf. Golf instruction might be the only profession where we try to fix a 1-second movement in a 30-minute explanation. Instead of teaching and understanding how humans actually learn movement through our senses. The biggest misunderstanding is that golfers try to learn while they're playing, and they try to play while they're learning. Does that make sense? So, understanding our senses. So we're going to go through a number of slides tonight, understand how and why our senses really help us both to learn and play the game of golf. And what are the senses? How many are there? How many senses do we have? Well, we really think about 5. Some say there's 6. When you dive deep into this, science tells us that there could be 18 to 21 senses in the human body. So we're gonna look at 5 senses tonight. We're not gonna really look at common sense. Hopefully it will be an app on your phone soon for some of you, and we're not going to look at our spidey senses, right? Our gut feelings, our intuition, which I think are, as you know, are a big part of the game.
Hey, Jeff,
Yep.
sorry to interrupt. Just at the bottom of your slideshow, can you hit the slideshow and it'll fill the screen? Uh,
Uh, yeah, but I'm reading my notes from the bottom, so that could
all,
be a problem.
all good.
Is it too small?
No, it's
Like,
not.
is that any better?
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So did I lose this? Yeah. So we're going to understand sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and then movement and balance, which is part of the hearing part of the program. Okay. So we all know that our senses help us in everyday life. There are survival mechanisms, our virtual reality headset. They perceive the world, identify dangers, and finding essential resources that are our outward wits. So when we have our wits about us, we are using our senses to help us get around in the world. So what do our 5 basic senses really do? Well, I mean, this is a bit of a no-brainer. Sight guides our movement, reads faces, judges space. Why it matters, it really keeps us orientated. Hearing detects danger, guides rhythm, aids socializing. And why it matters, it organizes timing. Touch and feel, it guides our grip, it controls pressure, it detects movement. And why it matters, it tracks our body. Smell warns us of danger or possibly things that are more relative to our taste buds and things that we smell that we like. It triggers memories, it guides tastes, and it also affects our moods. And then taste detects toxins, it evaluates food, influences our appetite, and it's key in our survival protection. So they're the gatekeepers of learning. They keep us safe and they shape how we experience life. So these senses in golf, right? This is where we all sort of touch on when we teach and coach and play. These five senses are all playing a significant part of the program, but sight is our primary sense. And we'll talk about where it should be in the hierarchy of learning in a few slides. But here, and feel are vital to the concept of the game of golf, as we all know. However, smell and taste, they do play a significant role as well, as they have a relationship with our neurochemistry. So even the smell of the grass, the coffee, or the barbecue at the turn, the smell of new golf grips on your Jumbo Max grips, all of those equate to our brain chemical warfare. As smell as does the taste of the coffee at the golf course or the cold beer or the Coca-Cola. Those all have a relationships to how we experience the game of golf. So why is golf teaching so technical, so mechanical? It's gotten to become a data-driven kind of world. Is it YouTube? Is it social media? Is it the instant gratification, desperation, ego that a lot of golfers are searching out and trying to find that magic fix to get their swing swinging and get their game playing? Um, so we really have to look at how hard we're looking at technical and mechanical and start kind of a trend to changing how we coach and how we get people to learn and how to play. Right? We're keeping all of these five senses in jail, and it's not really allowing our golfers to figure it out on their own, to feel it, to see it, to hear it. So we're rather forced through too much information to achieve these goals faster in that sort of world where we want, need, have to have it now. We have to be able to allow golfers to explore and to experiment and figure it out their way, because they're going to play their way for better retention and understanding of the game, what their game means to them. So YouTube, social media, it doesn't always work. I mean, it's some great information out there. It's not that the information is wrong or incorrect. It just might not be right for the golfer, but it's really not in the right learning context for people to learn, because they're just going to try it or buy it and think that it's going to work for them somewhat automatically. So if we learn here tonight is on how to engage the proper senses in the proper hierarchy, then our students will learn better and play better. So I guess when we talk about the YouTube trap, yesterday while watching the Players Championship, our Canadian young lad from Mississauga, I don't really want to try and pronounce his name. Anybody want to give it a go? Sudarsham. He finished what, eighth? And apparently he was a YouTube watcher at an early age. He and his father flipped the right-handed golfers into left-handed golfers, and he claims he's never had a golf lesson before in his life. But we all know that there's a lot of outliers and unicorns out there. And if he came up through the Golf Canada rank, I would bet he had some coaching along the way. Nonetheless, what a great couple of rounds that young man had yesterday in a very big field. So the YouTube trap is, again, it's just we're not um, really aligning ourselves up properly to get the great information that YouTube may be offering. and why mechanics first coaching really fails. We tend to um, jump right into this to see a flaw and then fix a flaw. The brain organizes chaos, and sometimes this chaos moves way too fast before the motion begins. So the brain is scanning the environment, prioritizing sensations and inputs, and it's determining the threat level, predicting the outcomes, and trying to choose a motor pattern. If the sensory system is calm and clear, then the motor system runs much more efficiently and effectively. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we need to slow it down. We need to see clearly, feel balanced, breathe, commit, and swing. So, remember my chemical roller coaster ride presentation, how the brain gets hijacked by those chemicals. Well, that's really going to have a great effect on both our learning and our playing performance. So what actually happens again with all of this chaos is cognitive overload, more thought, more attention, less feel, um, tends for us to get a brain freeze, or we try to force it when the system's not organized. Emotions run rampant, unchecked, and then we get into that fight or flight kind of scenario. So thinking and trying too hard is a recipe for frustration. Right? One of the keys is the mind must be empty to see clear. So the result again is this whole um, paralysis through analysis. Uh, the swing doesn't sort of come to fruition because we're just trying to cram for this exam, and then we start to crash under stress. So the big truth is that the swing doesn't start the golf club moving. The swing starts when the brain commits, and the brain is a sensory object. Or how are we doing so far?
Great.
So this is where I'd like us to really think about shifting our learning first coaching. Um, so instead of saying, let's fix your takeaway, why don't we think about saying, is your vision clear? Do you have an image or a picture of what you want to do in your mind? Is your rhythm calm? Is your grip pressure soft? Are you balanced? Uh, because if all of these are set, then the body organizes itself. So how do we teach using the senses? Well, sight, as you all know, we should be demonstrating. We should be talking so people are listening and hearing. Be careful on the touch thing, but touch and feel is a very, very big part of it. Um, Smell and taste, not so sure if that's going to play a big role into um, our lessons, but they might get a sense for the fresh cut grass or the smell of the lawnmower going by, or buddy next to you smoking a cigar, not a joint. Um, right? So you have a heightened awareness to your balance and your motion, your movement, your alignment. Um, all of these things just lead to good learning and developing of good habits that are going to be retained in your brain. So we know the brain is the control center of the senses. So that's what we have to really look at here, ladies and gentlemen, is how do we put these senses in sync? And I'm not talking about the boy band. All right. So you get to be a disc jockey. You get to be that blender, that sensory mixing board. You are in control of the student's senses while you're coaching them, whether it's a learning lesson or a playing lesson. And we're going to dial these or turn these sliders up or down, turn them around so that we get the student into the right learning board for understanding what it is that they're trying to achieve during the lesson. All right. So it is a process and it's an important one. So movement is a processing event. So we have to guide them in the proper senses so that they can process, filter, prioritize, integrate into the movement or the motion that we're trying to get them to complete. We all know that golf is faster than a speeding bullet or a blink of an eye. It's very much sensory in golf. And I don't want to go over a lot of the milliseconds in time here and break it down. You're free to do that on your own dime. But just understand that a blink of an eye is pretty fast, 300 to 400 milliseconds. And a golf swing is 1 second or a little bit longer. And then most sensory processes happen faster than a blink. And it's impossible for us to keep up to a swinging golf club when we start. Nothing is instant. Your brain is always slightly behind reality, approximately 200 milliseconds. It takes time for our brain to organize things and for it to send the messages and the signals to what it is that we're trying to do. Right. So if a golf downswing is approximately 150 to 250 milliseconds, the time you feel something mid-swing, it's probably already over or it's way too late to to really recover. Some good players would recover with their hands because their hands and their feel sensation is probably the fastest going in there if you try to recover a swing. But we all know that we really don't want to do that in when we're playing. So here's kind of the fastest to the slowest in our senses. Hearing being number one, touch, two, sight, three, smell, four, five, taste. So these are general, sort of depending on context, stimulus, uh, intensity, individual differences. Understanding sensory timing helps to explain why pre-shot routines organize on the system regulation and are critical before motion begins. Right, so the brain organizes, the sensory input predicts the outcome, it chooses the motion or the motor pattern, and all of those senses, vision, hearing, touch, smell, and taste, they all get a part in the process to create a motion or a movement output, which results in an action. So latency, everybody heard of latency? Latency is that delay between the stimulus and the brain response. And as I said earlier in a few slides, the brain is always slightly behind time, right? So it's not instant. We are always, in somewhat working out of the past. It's not by a long time, but it is, we are in the past. So again, just some numbers here that sort of talk about the latency compared to blink in relationship to vision, hearing, touch, balance, and thinking. So why does this matter for golf? Well, during motion, you cannot correct in real time. You cannot consciously steer the club. You cannot fix it halfway down because sensory process takes longer than the movement itself. This is why the swing must be organized before it begins. Latency explains why mid-swing thoughts are very destructive. All right, so I know you always think I'm the Jeff the science guy, but not really. I like this stuff. I don't really want to nerd out here too much, but let's jump into just clarification of the vision. Um, it sets the tasks. Without it, the body has nothing clear to organize around. Right? We all know that you don't swing to a target you haven't truly seen. All right, so the process, planning, sense, brain interprets, predicts, plans, and then gets it ready for the motion. And sight really is kind of a hidden coach, you know. Us as teachers, instructors, coaches can see divot patterns and points and depths of divots and directions and path of club that impact and ball flight and all of those other sorts of things. So it allows us to see contact and see feedback. So it is a part of both learning and playing. Hearing, can everybody hear me? Little
It's a,
pun intended there. Uh, Sets the rhythm, sets the timing, and it's part of our sequence. So it's really, really important to timing and sequence. It matches the beat of the swing and helps to keep us in sync with movement. I had a student the other day who came in and told me she was suffering from tinnitus, a constant ringing in her ear. And this is the first time she's had that. And she couldn't hardly swing a golf club. She tried and tried uh, very courageously for 30 minutes, but we had to just simply go down to some putting and chipping because her motion and movement was so off balance because of its close relationship with the vestibular system. So sound again is the other hidden coach. You hear that nice crisp strike of the pure contact versus the dull thump sound or the sharp metallic thin shot that helps us to hear impact. And it really helps us to tell the truth of what just happened. So the vestibular system is really the co-pilot for stability, orientation, speed control. If your balance is threatened, the brain sacrifices mechanics to stay upright. Stability before speed always should be your motto. Touch and proprioception. It's one of the fastest feedback loops. Very, very fast. Our grip on our club, the force in our hands, the position is almost instant feedback to the spinal cord. And touch and sensation feel the club in real time. And it sometimes in motion gives us feedback. So why this matters in the golf swing, it really runs the swing. It's responsible for club face awareness, pressure, weight shift, path, sequencing. So that's why your grip, your hand position, your hand pressure is vital in teaching and learning and playing golf. It's the one of the good F words in golf is feel, right? Everybody knows all my other good F words, hopefully. So if you can't feel it, you can't repeat it, right? And so as we go forward, I'm going to say this again later. I'll say it now in case I forget. Um, but we really have to stop and ask the golfer in front of us, what did you feel? What did you really feel? And get them to dig down deep and get them to really hone in on what was it that they felt. And that's not easy for a lot of people to do that. All right. So it's the only sense quick enough to guide movement in real time. The hands, I don't know why I wrote this, the hands don't control the swing, but definitely report it. So they can control it, but they definitely report it. So back to sort of the vestibular balance, inner ear, equilibrium, responsible for ground contact and movement. Uh, and it's pretty fast as well. And it's again anchors our motion and it avoids collapse of us sort of falling down. And so this is again another one of our keys to really good success because if we're not balanced throughout, an athletic motion really can't be anchored or successful, right? We can't have the weebles and wobble and fall all over. We have to have balance, Danielson. So hearing for balance, tempo, and timing, all of these kind of go together like peas and carrots, according to Forrest Gump. Rhythmic swing count, smooth backswing transition, all of those good things. We try to really listen for rhythm, feel rhythm, um, and the subsequent balance that should be associated with it. And then the environment. So we go back to our buddies, smell and taste. Um, why does this matter? Well, smell and taste and the environment can include emotions. And emotions will bias our senses. If we have fear, then we tighten up touch. If we have anxiety, it narrows our vision. If we're calm, cool, and collected, Clint Eastwood, that improves feelings and balance. Confidence versus doubt, trust versus fear. So that's why you want to have a really good learning environment for your students, your clients, to make them feel calm, quiet, comfortable, so that good learning can take place. So a virtual golf swing and just kind of a quick sensory overlay from address all the way through to finish. So vision is the planning and the target awareness. Again, it's too slow during the downswing. Conscious thought. We useful bore the motion, but it shuts down during the swing just because of latency. Touch and proprioception is the fastest feedback loop in the primary controller in the motion. Balance in the vestibular ear. It's all about stability and orientation, and it's active throughout. Hearing and rhythm, tempo, and consistency supports flow, fluidity, and that good old-fashioned impact there. No time for correction, right? That's less than a blink of an eye when we're at the crime scene where club face meets back of ball. So your vision plans the swing, but feel delivers it. So, how do we encode the brain? How do we get this into the golfer's brain so that they can retain this information, so that they can see and feel, adjust and repeat, not be rushed, be balanced, create a good awareness that builds improvement, and then training them so that they're going nice and slow and easy and not getting conflicted with too much information. Because we know there's a lot going on, and we just really have to slow it down and simplify it a little bit and allow people to digest what is that they're seeing, hearing, feeling, and doing, and then have some sort of a relationship to that. Okay, just a quick little thing on why coaching juniors is so different and yet so powerful for all you junior coaches out there. You know that you're dealing with a different nervous system and their senses. Junior brain is built to learn movement. Their nervous system is highly plastic. It's moldable. It's plasticine. Uh, their brain is wired for exploration. Movement patterns are learned implicitly, and so there's less internal dialogue and less interference. They just feel first and figure it out. Whereas, let me just have to slide this up here. Our adults, the ones who tend to complicate things, whose nervous system is already more set, and their brain prefers analysis and explanations. Movement is often learned explicitly, step by step thinking. So meaning you have to explain, and then next week you explain and you explain again the same thing you explained to them last week, because they tend to overthink on their way to trying to feel what it is that you're asking them to do. So this would be tough, people, but we have to help transition them from think and feel to get them to trust and trust. So allow them to uh, feel, hear, see when learning and be less worried about the outcome. Not to be concerned with, when you're trying to learn something new or change something, fix something, we can't have it all at once. We know that. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world? So we have to, if you're going to allow them to hit a ball, then that's fine, but we're not going to focus on the outcome of what the ball is doing while we're trying to uh, make a slight change or improvement in their tendency. So adults default to positions, instruction mechanics, asking questions, what went wrong. Their loop becomes think, judge, frustration. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all just be kids again? So, same system, different interferences, right? Juniors are field driven, low conscious interference. Adults are thought driven, higher interference. So, our coaching goal is protect the field in the juniors and try to reduce noise in the adults. So, go back to the mixing board and um, change the signals here with your disc jockey new job that you're going to have here, and set the senses, the proper ones that you need to get them to get into so that learning can improve. All right. So just balance the inputs. This is this is a challenge. We all sort of need to have a look at this and decide how we can be better at doing this during our coaching sessions. Right. So some sliders go up, some go down. Great coaches control the mix.
Yeah.
All right, let me just take a quick break here. I don't know. I see somebody doodling on my screen. I'm not sure who that is. Do you see that, Mark?
Yeah, I thought that was
Thought
you.
that was you.
Nope, not me. Any questions so far?
Yes, one question here.
Yes.
Uh, what age you will feel the difference from adult and junior? Will it be 15, 16, 18, 20?
Yeah, I think you're probably in that 15, 16-year old. I think everybody's different though, Jills. I had a 15-year-old tell me the other day he's been golfing for 3 years and he can't change his swing path. He can't go from in to out. He can only go out to in. That's all he could do. He was adamant he couldn't change. So everybody's different. Everybody's pliability and ways of trying to go at things is different. But good question.
All right, thank you.
I think you just kind of have to be able to read, the golfer who's in front of you and see where they're at as far as their maturity levels and their golf knowledge, that sort of thing. And again, understanding how people learn. Are they audio, visual? Are they feel? Are they, kinesthetic? Uh, are they analytical? All those sorts of things, right? That we should have, really checked the box on before we started coaching them. So,
And
Yeah.
so
for just one more question about this feel person, adult who's got the feeling, but still have the mindset of analyzing too much. So you think you have a field person, but his brain, like you said, is maybe overthink too much about we have to bring back in the junior phase. Why?
right. Yeah. So what came out in the wash about that young man is he didn't like to be under pressure. And I was pressuring him to do these exercises or drills. So he didn't work well under pressure. He wanted me to give him a task and then he wanted me to go away for 20 minutes and come back and just let him work it on his own. So good learning experience for me. Was he able to change his path? No. But he's not to get off topic. He doesn't want to try. He just thinks this should happen in the automatic mode where, I tell him what to do and he should be able to do it without any sort of participation.
Thank you.
Hey,
Welcome.
Jeff, just a little interruption here. Um, I find it fascinating, all this stuff, and when we had Tim O'Connor on earlier,
Yes.
uh, just how things have evolved from just, oh, I got to be positive, I got to be focused on being positive and keep my spirits up, and now we're starting to realize you actually need to have some sort of focus as opposed to just being in the right mindset all the time, right? And almost faking like you're happy out there hitting bad shots. Um, like I think I find that really great that you can start to focus on, things prior to hitting the golf ball and even prior after hitting the golf ball as opposed to just always being focused on being Mr. Positive or Mrs. Positive.
Right. Yeah. I think we'll dive into that a little deeper here
Oh,
in the next
sorry.
part. Okay. So, as I said, adults think too much. They have all this other information inside them, and they're trying to make it happen instead of letting it happen. So, as good golf coaches, right, we have to be curious. We have to keep asking questions. And I said this earlier, is like, how did that feel? What did you feel? Did you feel the club head come last, late? Did it come from behind you or did it come out in front of you? Did you feel the pressure change in your feet? Did you feel whatever it is? Did you hear the sound the golf ball made? Was it crisp? Was it clean? Was it a thump? Um, what did you see? What did you really see? Right? Did you see the ball curve? Did it start? Which way did it start? Which way did it end? Did it match up to the intentions of your shot? So all of those things, just getting the students to dive a lot deeper so that they can really, really put a sense or a feeling to the motion so that it can help to retain that so they can repeat it. All right, let's eat. Let's set the table for some better learning. So I need you to understand that there's two modes of training. One is for learning, and one is for playing or performance. And we'll talk about these differences here. So when we learn, we want to be calm, curious, relaxed, right? Referred to as being layered. You're comfortable, you're adaptive, right? All of those things that the coach guides this awareness. In playing or performing, the coach gets out of the way, right? It's up to trust and commitment when we go to play. But we'll talk about the senses in the two of those different modes of training. So the hierarchy of learning. Um, from my reading and research, it really kind of starts with hearing and rhythm. Hearing, again, just going back to the vestibular system. I know it says it at number 2, but it's all about the bass. It's all about the balance, right? So we have good tempo and good timing. Number 2 on the list is feel and touch because it's about the body awareness, the hand position and pressure, our pressure in our feet, all those sorts of things that keep us upright. Hearing, again, sort of up there along this hierarchy to relate to timing and the sound of solid contact that truly helps to organize the motion or the movement. Vision, again, super important, which is all about the target, the ball flight, a landing spot, all that external focus, target awareness type things that go on in the game. And then, of course, the dreaded thinking is kind of at the top, which we use when we learn because we have to think about what we need to do in order to do it, in order to go up that uh, conscious level of learning from being consciously incompetent to consciously competent to unconsciously competent, all of those. So understand that, yeah, this hierarchy has a little bit of give and go, like anything and everything. It's not truly carved in cement, but just understand that there are better ways to get our clients, students to learn a little bit better. So what I've started to do now recently is before the lesson starts, we declare the mode of what's going on today. I declare I'm here to learn today. And that's what they say. I get them to say it out loud. So they open themselves up to being relaxed and calm and explorative and experimental right? Or so when I teach indoors, we train for 30 minutes and then we go and play. So when the learning is over, then I say, I declare we are now playing. And now the brain switches to that right side of the book, and we go through what are the senses that I used in a different order when I play. So the learning mode again, to change habits, we have to set the table to be comfortable, curious, adaptive, heighten those senses of feel, hear, and see. And so your role is to guide their awareness. On the other side of the page is the play mode. That's where our goal is to perform and to score. And this brain state is see, feel, do, trust, commit. And the coach kind of gets out of the way in order for them to play. So just another little picture here, nothing new here. This is just kind of a different image to see how things all sort of spiral up and around. And this is all about learning here. So calming the emotions, clarifying the intentions, establishing goals, allowing for exploration, and again, setting the intention for the task at hand. So you can start to organize the system before you fix the system. Yeah, so you'll see a couple of things are doubled in there. That's a high. So we are here to explore, right? Simplify, keep early tasks simple and success orientated. And this goes back to our teaching model, right? To clip the grass, clip the tea, all those sorts of early on things. And I think this should go through doesn't matter on what level of player you have in front of you, is get them to feel comfortable right away so that their brain becomes more pliable to learning. Get them to have success, right? So you've gone from disc jockey now to guide um, on this golf exploration. We wear a lot of hats, don't we, when we teach golf? All right, so let's tap into exploring learning with hearing and tempo. The balance vestibular, as I said earlier, is a co-pilot for stability, orientation, speed control, finish position. Here's a bit of a fun fact. If balance is threatened, the brain sacrifices mechanics to stay upright. I said that earlier. Stability before speed, always. So in my sort of coaching, I go from the three phases from snail, dog, and then jog to run. Or you could use a transmission, first gear, second gear, third gear, however you want to phrase it. But another one of my simple ones is inch by inch is a cinch, right? Yard by yard is way too hard. So number two, touch, the primary learning sense. It's the fastest feedback mechanism, builds motor memory, and the brain trusts feel over words. So again, responsible club face awareness, pressure, weight shift, path sequencing. This is why this runs the swing. It's the only sense quick enough to guide movement in real time. Vision, as we said earlier, again, it just kind of going over this in a little different context with learning in this order of hierarchy. So try to keep the vision low at first, because when vision takes over, it starts to skew the other two. So again, don't have them be so focused on the result when you're in the learning phase. Okay, it's going to happen, but if you can try to get them not to focus on that, you'll have greater success in getting them to learn what they're feeling and hearing. And then seeing will be, sort of the cherry on the sundae. All right, they'll be able to match that up with what they felt and heard. All right. I feel like I want to be Mr. Miyagi here, Danielson, and it's always balance, balance, balance. Right? Ground control to Major Tom. Right? If we don't have ground control, right, we really can't get our body going. We can't change pressures. We can't create power or forces. We have no stability, and therefore we have really lackluster mobility. And our emotions, right? And we got to keep them in check, especially when we're learning, because we know that thing called the learning curve, right? It's a journey. It goes up and down and all around. So try to keep your lessons fun, lighthearted, challenge the client to the best of their ability, push them a little bit just to see how they respond and react, but have measurable goals, as we know that we all should have, so that you can move up the learning curve, give them a different task to keep them going. And the old dreaded paralysis by analysis. This is where we lose them. People bail. Oh, right. So because we want to maximize feel and real, this is why we use data, video, force plates, 3D, things that are measurable, so we can tell them, oh, did you feel the path go in to out? Yes or no? Well, let's see. We'll confirm it with some video. Right? Was your club face square or open or closed at impact? Let's check the data on the launch monitor to see what was happened, so they can develop that awareness to feel and real. All right, 12. Hope everybody's hanging in there. Don't hear anybody snoring. That's a good thing.
Well, it's great.
So the keys for playing great golf. So we're just going to change the hierarchy of the senses here. All right. So and we've already sort of alluded to that, playing about vision. It's the number one order. It chooses the target. It sets the intention and the direction. It builds the motor plan before the movement starts, right? You see it. Vision sets the tasks. Without it, the body has nothing clear to organize around. And that's why this whole another hawk could be is on the quiet eye sort of theory, or using the 3-second gaze, so your brain can really, really focus in on the target at hand. Tell me a dart player doesn't really look at that board before he or she moves the wrist. So vision and focus, two really, really big pieces that go into the same part of the puzzle here. But so again, it's always see the shot, then the next is feel the shot, perform the shot, and then review the shot. So hearing during playing, again, goes back to trusting your tempo. Not that you really want to count sort of when you're out playing competitively or even recreationally, but rhythm should emerge if we've done enough hearing and tempo training throughout the learning phase. It was interesting if you follow Tour Tempo Golf on YouTube, they just did a little YouTube thing on tapping while training. And I used it on one of my better players. We were working on some little short controlled wedge shots, and I actually had him. He's a right-handed golfer, and I had him tap his right toe during the golf swing, and it was really kind of interesting and intriguing to see how he could develop a nice little routine. And I mean, we didn't hit a lot of balls while he did that, obviously, but we found a beat. We used the Tour Tempo app. He matched it up with a toe tap, and yeah, we had a nice little dance party. So hearing organizes time, not the positions. Rhythm, tempo, cadence, auditory timing is much faster than conscious thought and helps to sequence the motion. Hearing organizes time, not positions. And there's the thinking again. So when we're playing, right, we want to keep our thoughts minimal, one sort of swing cue max, and then it's the commitment. So emotion biases the senses. I said that earlier. So we don't fix emotions. You manage them before the swing. What doesn't belong here is mechanics, body part instructions, or corrections, right? You can't be trying to think about those things when you're playing. Planning is for deciding, not fixing. So learning does happen while we play, but it should happen in the post-shot routine. Um, this is the powerful piece of the puzzle that I don't think a lot of people take time to spend a lot of time in the fish, pardon me, pose position to allow them to see, feel, hear what just happened. So the dominant senses are touch, proprioception, balance, vestibular. This is where and why the hierarchy matters. But the brain relies different sensory systems at different times. So the planning, when you see it, it's a slower, more predictive. The execution obviously is faster, reactive senses, and the learning, which happens at the end of it, is the reflective part of it. So you could turn every shot into a lesson. And so if we go back to the learning phase, eventually, when we're doing a full swing, we're going to get that student to hold the finish. I strongly recommend that they close their eyes and spend a few moments in time there to test their balance, but to allow them to feel what just happened. So anytime, as we know, we close the eyes, we heighten the proprioception or feel senses in our body. And then we celebrate. Of success is the brain's way of encoding those senses, those feel-good chemicals that help us to retain, remember, repeat, ingrain that movement, right? So golf being the drug that it is, right? Let all those good endorphins and those good chemicals, right, take their time to celebrate and let your brain know that that made you happy. Sometimes you might even have the student go back and sort of reverse engineer that last swing so that they could really, really groove that move and feel was as they dive deep down into what they actually felt. Okay, what did they feel? How balanced was I? What did you see? What did I see? Did they match up? So if you're doing playing lessons, the coaching loop is what's the target? What's the plan? What are you committed to? All right. So we guide the senses. As great coaches, we guide the senses, not the positions. We reduce the noise. We allow learning to happen. You're a disc jockey or a adventure tour guide, whoever you want to be, right? We're adjusting all the time. The body learns in sensations, not sentences. The body learns in sensations, not sentences. Learning lives between the reps. And if everything is loud, then nothing is clear. Remember, if you're teaching the juniors, right? Feel and balance. Let them learn. Give them a task and let them go at it. Adults, gotta turn down the vision and turn down the thinking, right? So your goal is to change those sliders or dials with age or abilities.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Sorry, I was just gonna. One of the ways that what I found is like people identify, obviously we've talked about the different learning styles. That idea about the adults being very visual or vision oriented and whatnot. Sometimes they don't even define that properly for themselves. So they'll say um, if it's putting or if it's pitching or chipping to a certain distance, whatever the very precisely, and they say, well, I'm a feel player, they'll say. I feel that. I feel 37 yards or feel 12 feet, right? I say,
Yeah,
oh, okay, great, great. Okay, close your eyes and hit it 37 yards then. If you're a field player, you can do that.
right.
Well, no, I have to see it. I mean, show me the pin. I can't
Yeah,
tell unless okay. So you're not a field player. You are a visual player, right?
yeah,
I mean, to see the 37 yards and what that looks like to you. So it's funny that even though because it's 100% true. I mean, as you get more reliant on your visual acuity, but they don't even define it that way. They define that as a feel. So
right,
again, sometimes just helping them understand what that actually means, then it helps them calm that down, right?
right.
Feel is
Yep,
feel, but vision is vision, but those aren't two the same things, right? So anyway, I just wanted to kind of jump in there and say that they may be thinking they're thinking the right thing, but they don't even know what they don't know. I know that sounds crazy, but
yep.
it's just a real definition thing that it's a kind of a quick way to kind of determine whether they know what feel and vision is because they are different.
Right. So maybe a conversation you have with them is how many senses are there? Right? Not to be too sarcastic, but what are the five senses or six senses? So maybe he's using his spidey senses there where he's blending both sight and feel at the same time, right? Maybe he's Spider-Man. Yeah, who has more fun than people, right? You learn a lot when you coach golf for sure. Um, so I would strongly recommend that you build, if this kind of tickles your fancy, build a little bit of a template and come up with, a plan as what are we doing if we're learning today? What are the senses? You know, what are what's the reason why they're there? What are we going to accomplish today? How are we going to go about it? How are they know they're doing well at it? So sort of a reflection or a mixing sort of way, and to really get them to transfer what they heard, felt, saw, smell, taste, all of those things. All right, so wrapping it up here. Set the mix, right? Learning, remember the sliders, the emotions. We need to keep them calm and curious, cool, collected. Keep the vision low at hand, just for the task and feedback only, not for the result of the shot at hand. Keep hearing high rhythm and support, touch, feel is high, balance is very high. And I know that's difficult to keep thinking low when you're dealing with adults. Conversely, playing mode, sliders go down. Again, we have to keep the emotions calm and committed. Vision is high now, right? Because target, 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 hearing and touch, balance, thinking is down in that sort of hierarchy of the senses there. Okay, so try to separate learning from playing and apply the proper hierarchies accordingly. Right? I really like just follow, see, feel, do, reflect, rinse, and repeat. Be adaptive, adapt to different conditions, players, people, juniors versus adults, and really design an effective pre-shot routines for people. Even, once you get going, you need to have your pre-shot routines in your practice so that they can be ready to go and they run through that. That's always a great little learning tool for everybody, right? So we're really not trying to fix swings, ladies and gentlemen. We're just trying to guide them using their senses and their systems so they can figure it out and swing their swing kind of their way. Right? So if the golfer plays the instrument, sound is the swing, and your job is to bring the timing, motion, and the intention together so that performance can happen. Train the senses, calm the brain, simplify the swing, and you don't train a swing, you train perception. Let's come to our senses, ladies and gentlemen, and get our clients to use theirs. I thank you very much. Cheers.
Great job, Jeff.
Thank you. Everybody's still alive. Good.
Thanks, Jeff. Nice
Yeah, we're alive. That was good. That was good. Great images too.
Well, thanks to AI. Sometimes they produce really nice, and I hope it came through clear on there for you. I'm sorry because of all my notes at the bottom that I wasn't able to make it full screen.
I have one question.
Certainly.
Are you going all the way through the thinking first with the adult, or you just see the result and now they react to the ball and their feel and everything, or you start right away, you think too much and let's try the junior phase and experiments this?
So that's a great question. Yeah, because it's hard to get somebody to do something without them thinking about it, right? Um, so yeah, you just want to keep it simple. So you're going to have to give them some instruction, right? But we're not going to give them a 30-minute chit chat about, the putter face and how it reacts with the ball. The goal is let's get the face aimed. How do you aim the face to the back of the ball to get it to go towards the hole. So really, really keeping it simple, so not really having to overanalyze too much. And then as they become sort of competent about that and they want to learn more about face interaction or path interaction or about speed control, whatever it is, then you can, you can give them another little nugget. But I would be keeping the nuggets short and crisp and sweet. And just let them go at it and figure it out on their own. Let them explore, let them experiment. I think we have to give people a lot more credit than, most people can get up and get out the door and get to the golf course in the morning. They should be able to figure some things out on their own.
So you figure out that junior are more constant with the knowledge they get when they're junior.
No, they don't have the
That,
knowledge. They
that
just don't think about things. You show them once, show them what to do, maybe tell them one little thing and they'll go and figure it out.
no, I was talking about you know, they learn something and they have it for a while. They don't need many
Oh, no.
adjustment like an adult. It worked for 1 week, 2 weeks. They come back and it's not working anymore.
Who's that? The junior or the adult? Sorry.
The adult for the junior it stay maybe longer.
Maybe because again, their brains are more pliable. Um, and I think that in the adult situation, they don't get enough reps in or they don't have enough trust in the process or trust in themselves to let that sort of percolate down into their their body. Right? They're always kind of second guessing or they may be looking elsewhere. They may be going, after they visit you, they're going back down to social media and, comparing what you said to somebody else said. So they get way too much information instead of sticking to the process and keeping it simple and doing, some of the exercises that you've recommended for them. Keep them measurable. And so if they start to see that they can put the ball in a 3-foot radius from 10 feet away, then that's a success. So then you move them further away, whatever the case may be. So you challenge them accordingly as you build their skills, their techniques, and their trust.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hey, Jeff, David Delville had a good question. How do you get adults to relax?
Yeah, that's a great question, David. I think you should know the answer to that. You've been around this game longer than a lot of us. How do you get them to relax? You chit chat with them, you tell some stories. What do you think,
Yeah, can
David?
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't be the joker all the time, but and I just tell them right out that I've got to get you to relax in order to swing the club. And
Yeah.
I take it from there. But sometimes you just can't be the joker all the time. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. So, yeah, have people relax. That's a toughie. It's just by having a good, calm voice, show that you care, that you're concerned, you're compassionate. Start small, as I just said previously. Make things easy for them to start off with so that you're not challenging them too fast, too hard, too soon. Relax and get them to do some stretching exercise or swing a towel or swing a tempo trainer club like a whip or, the rolled up towel or rope. Um, just get them moving, get them talking, talk about their day, how was their day, how was their job. Just short of going in and
Good
buying them a
tip.
drink. Uh, yeah, it's a trick of the trade for sure, right? Because a lot of
I think
people
so.
become
I think so.
people
Don't tell
come
them how bad your last student was.
People come stressed out and they're racing from work or they've dropped the kids off at daycare and little Billy was crying and Susie forgot her lunch at home, so mom's all disheveled. So yeah, you got to find a way just to get them chillax without giving them the CBD chocolate chip cookies.
I coach Special Olympics athletes, including adults and younger athletes. And one way I get them to relax is to do something that is quite easy. So
Right.
let's say I'm doing a putting lesson. I might put someone beside the green and I might have them roll a ball or throw a ball to about a pin, maybe 30 or 40 feet away. And invariably, they just grab the ball, roll it up there, and it's within 3, 4, 5 feet. And then I just say, okay, now let's get your putter and let's see that same feeling with your putter. They never get it as close with the putter. But I say,
Yeah.
but you can get it close without even thinking about it by just reacting. And that
Sure.
seems to get people to trust their own ability more.
Yeah, the common thing is having icebreakers, right? When you're giving a presentation or speaking to somebody, how do you get the room to sort of calm down and focus in on what you're doing instead of just being right to business right away? It takes a special knack to do that for sure. Have
Jeff, you
some
put a lot
have
of
some
time
good
and effort
jokes.
into tonight's presentation. 79 slides. That's amazing. And yeah, I think we all are very thankful for you to take the time and effort to not only kind of get us ready for the upcoming golf season, but I'm sitting here the whole time thinking I want to hit some golf balls. So, it's
Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. No, it's a labor of it's not even a labor. I like it. I like it. Helping out everybody. I like diving deep into some of these unknown topics in the area, but without making a pun here, does that make sense to everybody, what I just did?
yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think it does because I've been using it now since Christmas, and my people have really bought into it, and some of them come in and say right away, "Hey, I'm here to learn today." And when I chip, I'm gonna really listen for the sound of contact, right? Because when you chip off artificial turf, right? I want to really hear that nice click, that nice sound, and then associate that feel um, with that sound. So now your brain is really starting to put the two of those together. And we all know, right, when we hit one in the middle of the club face and it sizzles when it leaves and it soars up into the sky, right? Like Superman, you've stung that one, right? And that just gives you goosebumps.
You definitely go up the learning curve if you can dissect what you just did, good or bad, versus react to it being angry or upset or, oh, I wished I had have done this or different club or whatever. But if you start to, right as soon as you hit that shot, start to pay attention, your students, they can learn,
Right.
it's amazing.
Yeah, so starting off again, sort of to go back what David was asking, is start small. Like I call it the snail, right? We have to learn to crawl before we walk, right? So you got to start small, get lots of little victories right away, make people feel comfortable.
Would you agree, Jeff, that as instructors or coaches, that if we apply those senses to ourselves, I think we'd be in a better position to help the golfer out, because then we're alert to those senses. It's easier than to give them to them. What I like to do is to listen to my student, especially for the new one, listen to the tone of voice, get them, like you mentioned earlier, getting them to relax to start with by swinging a club or whatever it might be. But having that conversation while they're doing that, then you get a sense of where their level of anxiety is and whether they're really in a position to learn.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because if they're, running on high, then that's not going to be a good learning environment. Right? We all know that from past experiences. People come in and they're stressed or they're rushing, they're late, or oh, I stay long, I got to go do this. So you already know that they're not in the right frame of mind to learn or do much of anything positive today. So just be in tuned, right, to their emotions. All of those things. It will make just such a better learning environment for both student and coach. Just looking at one of my notes here that says emotion sets brain chemistry before the movement. So it's all of these things again I talked about in that roller coaster five sum of brain chemicals all play part of learning and performing and having fun with this very addictive drug called golf. I listened to Alice Cooper do a little thing on social media the other day. Everybody know Alice Cooper, the drug addict rock and roll guy? And the interviewer is going, how can a drug addict, musician, rock and roll freak be almost a scratch golfer? Like it just, one is such the opposite of the other. And Alice Cooper says, well, yeah, drugs are you take a drug and you get high from it, right? You take a hit of acid and you're high. And so you're looking for the next hit to get that high again. He goes, golf is the same way for me. When I hit a good one, man, I want to hit another hit. I want to get that high. Awesome. Thank you very much for showing up. I just want to wish everybody a great golf season, successful, have fun with it, enjoy, be safe.
Yeah, I thank you,
Thanks to
Jeff, for putting that all together. And I encourage anybody that, we get into the golf season, you have a question or you need some help. Our community is full of people with some answers. So, if you want somebody to get an answer, I certainly don't have them all, but between our network of people, there's definitely knowledge here to help you out if you've got a tough student or we've got some really high-end club fitters now, Greg and Paul Kelly in Newfoundland, like, so if there's questions about that sort of thing, we can definitely use our resources. Um, but I want to thank you guys all for coming out and supporting whoever spoke or, presented over the course of the past few months. We've had some great presentations. Jeff's led a few of them that are really, really well done and the time taken. And then we have had some really strong guest presentations. So it just is something that we got to continue to work on for next fall and next winter. But again, if you guys have any questions, we surely are here and not going anywhere. We've got a few events. We've got the CGTF Cup coming up in September, Masters course coming in Ottawa, and we're also doing a club fitting. And news to most people here, it's not only club fitting, but there's going to be a component to club assembly and club repairs in there as well. We're just gonna Greg, who's on here, we're gonna launch the details very soon. We've solidified GolfWorks Canada as the home base for that club fitting session. So we are actually right on their facility, able to build golf clubs in their shop and have supplies. And anybody that takes that club fitting course in Ottawa will be able to build a couple of clubs for your own lessons. So that'll be part of the itinerary is you take take 2 golf clubs home with you that you can use for teaching. But it should be quite an experience. The Masters course in Ottawa should be fun too. And then my little tournament for anybody in June that's in Ontario that can slip away and have a 2-person scramble. Bring your favorite student, your favorite spouse, your another CGTF member, whoever. But we're gonna have a fun day and do a little bit of instruction in the morning, and then around a 2-person scramble, and then probably have, knowing me, some pizza or something because our clubhouse doesn't really have food. So we'll make it work and we'll have fun. That's what it's all about. Any questions before we turn it off for the evening?
Well, yeah.
Jill?
Will you post the last video of Friday night?
No, there was on Friday night. That was a typo. There was no Friday night session. That's tonight.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I think I saw one for
Skillist?
was Friday. No?
No, it was just a typo. It was scheduled for tonight, the 16th,
Okay.
and I put it in as the 13th. And
Okay.
I think there was a few people that caught it, but the most people realize that we do everything Monday nights. So that was just
Thank you.
typical Mark Rayism.
Great job, guys. Thanks,
Thank you.
Mark. Thanks, Jeff.
Oh, thank you.
Our
Thanks
pleasure.
for everybody
My
coming
pleasure.
out.
Thanks, Mark, for all you do. Appreciate you and the CGTF.
Well,
Yes.
thank you.
Great job.
It's so good to see you guys at the golf show. There were not too many people left, but in Toronto and in Ottawa, we've had some great times this winter with our members. So it's been fun.
It has. Yep.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a great golf season. Reach out if you need anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
thanks,
take care.
guys.
Bon
Thank you,
voyage.
Mark.
Okay, bye.
Jeff.
Bye.
Good night.
Yeah.
Cheers.